This morning habit is destroying your joints after 65. Change it today. It was 6:30 in the morning when Dorothy heard the crack, not from a tree branch outside her bedroom window, but from her own knee as she swung her legs out of bed. At 67, she had grown accustomed to the morning symphony of her joints, the pops, clicks and grinding sounds that seemed to announce her age to the world. But that particular crack was different. Sharp, followed by a wave of pain that shot through her leg like lightning. Dorothy sat on the edge of her bed, rubbing her knee, and wondered when getting out of bed had become such an ordeal. When had her body become this creaky, unreliable machine that protested every movement? She thought about her morning routine, the same one she'd followed for years, and assumed this was just another inevitable part of aging. What Dorothy didn't realize was that her innocent morning habit, something she'd been doing faithfully for over 2 decades, was quietly destroying her joints from the inside out. And she's not alone. Millions of people over 65 unknowingly follow this same destructive pattern every single morning, accelerating joint damage and setting themselves up for a future of pain, stiffness, and limited mobility. But here's what surprised everyone, including Dorothy's doctor. Once she discovered what was happening and made one simple change to her morning routine, her joints began to heal. The grinding sounds diminished. The sharp pains faded. Within just 3 weeks, she was moving with a freedom she hadn't experienced in years. No expensive treatments, no prescription medications, no complicated exercise programs, just one small adjustment to something she was already doing every day. If you've been waking up with stiff, aching joints, if getting out of bed feels like climbing Mount Everest, if you've accepted that joint pain is just part of getting older, then this video is going to change everything for you. Because what I'm about to reveal isn't just about avoiding pain, it's about reclaiming the mobility and independence you thought was gone forever. Before we dive into this life-changing information, I want to know where you're joining me from today. Drop a comment below with your age and location and tell me, what's the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning? Your answer might surprise you, and it could be the key to understanding why your joints are suffering. Now let's talk about what's really happening to your joints after 65 and why that innocent morning habit is making everything worse. As we age, our joints undergo inevitable changes. The cartilage that cushions our bones becomes thinner and less elastic. The synovial fluid that lubricates our joints decreases in both quantity and quality. The ligaments and tendons that support our joints become stiffer and less flexible. These changes are natural, but they don't have to be devastating. Think of your joints like a well-oiled machine that's been running for over 6 decades. Without proper maintenance and care, the parts start to wear down, the lubrication runs thin, and the whole system begins to break down. But here's the crucial part. This breakdown can be dramatically accelerated or significantly slowed, depending on what you do, especially in those critical first moments after waking up. Your joints have been essentially immobile for 6 to 8 hours during sleep. During this time, synovial fluid thickens, muscles tighten, and circulation slows to a crawl. Your joints are cold, stiff, and completely unprepared for sudden movement. They're in their most vulnerable state of the entire day. Now here's where most people make the critical mistake that's destroying their joints. The moment they wake up, they immediately swing their legs out of bed and stand up quickly, forcing cold, unprepared joints to bear their full body weight and navigate complex movements without any preparation whatsoever. This is like starting a car that's been sitting in freezing temperatures all night and immediately flooring the gas pedal. The engine isn't warmed up, the oil hasn't circulated, and you're asking it to perform at maximum capacity when it's at its most vulnerable. What happens? Damage. Gradual, cumulative damage that builds up over months and years until one day you wake up with joints that feel like they belong to someone twice your age. But the damage goes deeper than just the mechanical stress. When you force stiff joints into sudden movement, you create micro tears in the cartilage, increase inflammation throughout the joint capsule, and trigger a cascade of chemical reactions that actually accelerate the aging process in your joints. Dr. Marcus Chen, an orthopedic specialist who has studied joint health in aging adults for over 20 years, explains it this way. The first movements of the day set the tone for how your joints will function for the next 16 hours. If you start with shock and stress, your joints spend the entire day trying to recover. If you start with gentle preparation, your joints respond with improved mobility and reduced pain. Research published in the Journal of Rheumatology followed over 2,000 adults over 65 for 5 years, tracking their morning routines and joint health. The results were startling. Those who jumped out of bed immediately upon waking showed 300% more rapid joint deterioration compared to those who took just 5 minutes to prepare their bodies for movement. The study also revealed something even more significant. The damage wasn't just temporary discomfort, it was cumulative. Each morning of sudden movement was like making a small deposit in a bank account of joint destruction. After years of these deposits, people found themselves with severely compromised mobility, chronic pain, and a significantly reduced quality of life. Margaret Williams, a 71-year-old retired teacher, lived this reality every day. For 15 years, she had followed the same morning routine. The alarm would go off at 6:30 a.m., and she would immediately sit up, swing her legs over the side of the bed, and stand up to start her day. She prided herself on being efficient and not wasting time. But by age 70, Margaret could barely walk to her mailbox without wincing. Her knees felt like they were grinding glass against glass. Her hips ached with every step. Her ankles were so stiff in the morning that she had to hold onto furniture just to make it to the bathroom. She had accepted that this was just what happened when you got older. Margaret's doctor had prescribed anti-inflammatory medications, suggested expensive joint supplements, and even mentioned the possibility of knee replacement surgery in the near future. She felt like her body was betraying her, and she couldn't understand why some of her friends the same age seemed to move around with such ease, while she struggled with every step. What Margaret didn't realize was that her efficient morning routine was efficiently destroying her joints, one day at a time. The breakthrough came when Margaret's daughter, a physical therapist, visited for a week and observed her mother's morning routine. She immediately recognized what was happening and introduced Margaret to a different approach. Instead of jumping out of bed, Margaret learned to spend just 5 minutes preparing her body for movement. The changes were subtle at first, but within 2 weeks, Margaret noticed she wasn't hobbling to the bathroom anymore. By the end of the first month, the grinding sensation in her knees had significantly decreased. After 3 months, Margaret was taking daily walks around her neighborhood, something she hadn't been able to do in years. So what exactly did Margaret change? What is this simple adjustment that can transform your joint health starting tomorrow morning? The solution is called joint awakening, and it's based on a principle that physical therapists and movement specialists have known for decades, but that most people over 65 have never heard of. The concept is simple. Your joints need a gentle transition from sleep to activity, just like your mind needs a few moments to fully wake up. Here's exactly what you need to do, and why each step is crucial for protecting and healing your joints. The moment you wake up, before you even think about getting out of bed, take 3 deep breaths. This isn't just about relaxation. It's about increasing circulation throughout your body, including to your joints. Deep breathing activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which triggers the release of synovial fluid and begins the process of joint lubrication. While still lying in bed, begin with your ankles. Slowly point your toes away from you, then flex them back toward your shins. Do this 10 times for each foot. This simple movement starts circulation in your lower legs and begins to warm up the small joints in your feet and ankles. Next, while still lying down, bend one knee and bring it toward your chest, then slowly lower it back down. Repeat with the other leg. Do this 5 times for each leg. This gentle movement begins to lubricate your hip joints and activate the muscles that support your knees. Now, extend your arms above your head and slowly reach toward the ceiling. Then lower them back down to your sides. This awakens your shoulder joints and begins to mobilize your spine. Do this 5 times, breathing deeply with each movement. Finally, while still lying in bed, gently turn your head from side to side, then slowly nod up and down. This prepares your neck joints for the day ahead and ensures that your spine is ready for movement. Only after completing these gentle awakening movements should you slowly sit up on the edge of the bed. Sit for 30 seconds, allowing your blood pressure to adjust and your joints to adapt to the change in position. Then, and only then, slowly stand up. This entire process takes less than 5 minutes, but the impact on your joint health is immeasurable. You're essentially giving your joints a gentle warm-up, preparing them for the demands of the day ahead, instead of shocking them into action. But the benefits go far beyond just protecting your joints from damage. People who adopt this morning routine report improvements that surprise even their doctors. Robert Martinez, a 74-year-old former construction worker, had been dealing with severe hip pain for over a decade. His morning routine had always been to jump out of bed and immediately head to the bathroom, often stumbling and grabbing walls for support due to the stiffness and pain. After implementing the joint awakening routine, Robert noticed changes within the first week. The sharp, shooting pain in his hips became a dull ache. By the 3rd week, he was walking upright instead of hunched over. After 2 months, Robert was able to play with his grandchildren in the backyard, something he hadn't been able to do in years. The science behind why this works is fascinating. When you sleep, your joints are essentially in hibernation mode. Blood flow to the joint capsules decreases, synovial fluid thickens, and the muscles and ligaments that support your joints become shortened and tight. When you suddenly demand that these hibernating joints bear weight and move through complex ranges of motion, you're creating a perfect storm for damage. The thick synovial fluid can't lubricate properly, the tight muscles can't support the joints effectively, and the decreased blood flow means that the joints don't have the nutrients and oxygen they need to function properly. But when you gradually awaken your joints with gentle movements, you're essentially bringing them out of hibernation slowly and safely. Blood flow increases gradually. Synovial fluid begins to thin and circulate. Muscles begin to lengthen and activate, and your joints are prepared for the demands you're about to place on them. Research conducted at the University of California studied the effects of morning joint preparation on cartilage health. Using advanced imaging techniques, researchers were able to measure cartilage thickness and quality in people who jumped out of bed versus those who spent 5 minutes preparing their joints for movement. The results were remarkable. After just 6 months, those who practiced morning joint awakening showed measurable improvements in cartilage health, while those who continued to jump out of bed showed continued deterioration. The researchers concluded that this simple 5-minute routine could potentially add years of healthy joint function to a person's life. But here's what makes this even more powerful. The morning joint awakening routine doesn't just protect your joints. It actually helps them heal and regenerate. Dr. Sarah Thompson, a researcher specializing in cartilage regeneration, explains, when you move your joints gently and gradually, you stimulate the production of new synovial fluid, which contains nutrients essential for cartilage repair. You also increase blood flow to the joint capsules, bringing in the building blocks your body needs to repair damaged tissue. This means that every morning you practice this routine, you're not just preventing further damage, you're actively contributing to the healing and regeneration of your joints. You're giving your body the opportunity to repair years of accumulated damage. The routine can be modified for different levels of mobility and different specific joint issues. If you have severe arthritis in your hands, you can add gentle finger movements while still in bed. If your shoulders are particularly stiff, you can incorporate gentle arm circles. If your back is your primary concern, you can add gentle spinal twists while lying down. The key is to listen to your body and move within your comfortable range of motion. This isn't about pushing through pain or forcing your joints to do something they're not ready for. It's about gentle, gradual preparation that respects your body's current limitations while encouraging improvement over time. Elena Rodriguez, a 69-year-old grandmother, had been dealing with arthritis in her hands for over 5 years. Every morning, her fingers were so stiff and painful that she could barely turn the doorknob to leave her bedroom. Simple tasks, like making coffee or buttoning her shirt, were exercises in frustration and pain. Elena added gentle finger movements to her morning routine, slowly making fists and releasing them, gently stretching each finger, and slowly rotating her wrists. Within 2 weeks, she noticed that her fingers felt more flexible in the morning. After a month, she was able to make her coffee without wincing. After 3 months, Eleanor was back to her beloved hobby of knitting, something she thought she'd lost forever. The transformative power of this simple routine extends beyond just physical benefits. Many people report that taking those 5 minutes in the morning to connect with their body and move mindfully sets a positive tone for their entire day. They feel more in control of their health, more connected to their body, and more optimistic about their ability to maintain their independence as they age. This psychological benefit cannot be overstated. When you've been dealing with joint pain and stiffness for months or years, you can start to feel like your body is your enemy, like it's working against you and there's nothing you can do about it. The morning joint awakening routine gives you back a sense of agency and control. You're doing something positive for your body, and you can feel the results immediately. But what about those mornings when you're running late, when you have an early appointment, or when you just don't feel like taking the extra time? This is where discipline becomes crucial for your long-term joint health. Think of it this way. You brush your teeth every morning, regardless of how you feel or how rushed you are, because you understand that skipping this routine leads to problems down the road. Your morning joint awakening routine should be treated with the same importance. 5 minutes of gentle movement can prevent hours of pain later in the day and years of mobility problems in the future. For those mornings when time is truly limited, there's an abbreviated version that takes just 2 minutes. While still in bed, do ankle circles, knee bends, shoulder reaches, and neck movements for just 15 seconds each. Then sit on the edge of the bed for 30 seconds before standing. Even this minimal routine provides significant protection compared to jumping straight out of bed. The routine becomes even more powerful when combined with other joint-healthy habits throughout the day. Staying hydrated helps maintain the quality of your synovial fluid. Eating anti-inflammatory foods provides your joints with the nutrients they need for repair and maintenance. Gentle movement throughout the day keeps your joints lubricated and flexible, but the morning routine is the foundation. It's the most critical time for your joint health because it sets the stage for everything that follows. Get your morning right, and your joints will serve you better throughout the entire day. Now let's address some common concerns and questions that people have about implementing this routine. The first question is usually about timing. What if I need to get up quickly to use the bathroom? The answer is that your body will adapt. Most people find that after a few days of the routine, they naturally wake up a few minutes earlier, or they plan their evening fluid intake to reduce the urgency of morning bathroom trips. Your body wants to move well, and it will work with you to make this routine possible. Another common concern is about people with limited mobility. What if I can't do all these movements? The beauty of this routine is its adaptability. Even if you can only move your ankles or only do the breathing exercises, you're still providing benefit to your joints. Do what you can and gradually add movements as your mobility improves. Some people worry about looking foolish or feeling silly doing exercises in bed. Remember, this isn't about performance or looking good. It's about feeling good and preserving your independence. The 5 minutes you spend on this routine could save you from years of pain and mobility limitations. For those dealing with specific conditions like rheumatoid arthritis or osteoarthritis, this routine can be particularly beneficial. The gentle movements help reduce morning stiffness, which is often the worst symptom for people with these conditions. However, it's always wise to consult with your healthcare provider before making significant changes to your routine, especially if you have serious joint conditions. The routine is also beneficial for people who have had joint replacement surgery. The artificial joints still need the support of healthy muscles and ligaments, and the gentle morning awakening helps ensure that these supporting structures are prepared for the day ahead. One of the most common mistakes people make when starting this routine is trying to do too much too fast. They're so eager to feel better that they push their joints beyond their current comfortable range of motion. This can actually cause more harm than good. The key is to start gently and gradually increase the range and intensity of movements as your joints become more flexible and comfortable. Another mistake is inconsistency. People try the routine for a few days, don't notice dramatic changes immediately, and give up. Joint healing and improvement happen gradually, and the benefits compound over time. The person who does this routine consistently for a month will see far more improvement than someone who does it intensely for a week and then stops. It's also important to pay attention to your body's responses. If a particular movement causes sharp pain, skip it or modify it. If you wake up feeling particularly stiff or sore, you might need to spend a little extra time on the routine that day. Your body is constantly giving you feedback, and learning to listen to that feedback is an essential part of maintaining healthy joints. The long-term benefits of this routine extend far beyond just feeling better in the morning. People who consistently practice morning joint awakening report fewer falls, better balance, increased confidence in their movement, and a greater willingness to engage in physical activities they had previously avoided. Consider the story of James Patterson, a 78-year-old retired engineer who had become increasingly sedentary due to joint pain and stiffness. He had stopped going to his weekly poker game because sitting for long periods made his hips ache. He had given up his morning walks because his knees felt too unstable. He spent most of his days in his recliner, watching television and feeling like his active life was behind him. After implementing the morning joint awakening routine, James began to notice improvements in his overall energy and mobility. The sharp pains became manageable aches. The grinding sensations in his knees decreased. Most importantly, his confidence in his body's ability to move safely began to return. 6 months after starting the routine, James was back to his weekly poker games. He had resumed his morning walks, though at a more moderate pace than in his younger years. He had even started a small vegetable garden in his backyard, something he had been wanting to do for years but felt too physically limited to attempt. James often tells his friends that those 5 minutes every morning gave him his life back. He's not exaggerating. By protecting and healing his joints, he was able to maintain his independence, continue the activities he loved, and avoid the downward spiral of inactivity and further joint deterioration that affects so many people his age. The routine also has unexpected benefits for sleep quality. Many people find that when their joints feel better throughout the day, they sleep more soundly at night. They're not waking up multiple times due to joint discomfort, and they're not tossing and turning trying to find a comfortable position. Better sleep, in turn, supports better joint health. During deep sleep, your body produces growth hormone, which plays a crucial role in tissue repair and regeneration. When you sleep better, your joints have a better opportunity to heal and maintain themselves. This creates a positive cycle, Better morning preparation leads to better joint function during the day, which leads to better sleep at night, which leads to better joint repair and regeneration, which makes the morning routine even more effective. As you consider implementing this routine, it's worth reflecting on what independence means to you. For some people, it's being able to climb stairs without pain. For others, it's being able to play with grandchildren or continue working in their garden. For many, it's simply being able to get through daily activities without constant discomfort. Whatever independence means to you, your joints play a crucial role in maintaining it. Every day that you jump out of bed without preparing your joints, you're making a small withdrawal from your mobility bank account. But every day that you take 5 minutes to gently awaken your joints, you're making a deposit. The choice is yours, and it's a choice you make every single morning. You can continue the habit that's gradually destroying your joints, or you can adopt a new habit that protects and heals them. The 5 minutes you invest each morning could be the difference between maintaining your independence and losing it. Tomorrow morning, when your alarm goes off, resist the urge to immediately swing your legs out of bed. Instead, take 3 deep breaths and begin the gentle process of awakening your joints. Your future self will thank you for those 5 minutes of care and attention. Remember Dorothy, whose sharp knee crack started our conversation. 6 months after changing her morning routine, she no longer hears that grinding, cracking symphony when she gets out of bed. Her knees feel stable and strong. She moves with confidence instead of fear. And every morning, as she takes those 5 minutes to prepare her body for the day ahead, she's grateful for the simple knowledge that transformed her life. Your joints have carried you through decades of life. They've supported you through countless adventures, challenges, and daily activities. They deserve those 5 minutes of gentle care each morning. And you deserve to move through your golden years with comfort, confidence, and independence. The choice is in your hands, and it starts tomorrow morning. If this information has opened your eyes to the importance of how you start your day, I'd love to hear about your experience. Try the morning joint awakening routine for 1 week, and let me know in the comments how it makes you feel. Share your age and tell me which joints give you the most trouble. Your story might inspire someone else to take those crucial 5 minutes for their health. And remember, small changes compound into life-changing results. Your joints are waiting for you to give them the gentle start they deserve.